7 Afghan policemen have reportedly been killed by the Taliban after being kidnapped. The insurgency is on the rise after the presidential election was held in the country in its first democratic transfer of power. Artist Lucy Kafanov met the family of one young woman that became the victim of one such attack.
A glass of tea and loved ones to enjoy it with. In the Sadat home, located in a middle-class suburb of the Afghan capital, this is a daily ritual. Here, early evenings are reserved for family. It's a time to relax and catch up with each other's busy lives. But these days, no one feels much like talking. Their 21-year-old sister, Hanifa, is gone. They were supposed to be preparing for her graduation. Now, there's a funeral to plan.
She was so excited about finishing her studies. She used to tell me, I will become a doctor and in this way I can help the women of Afghanistan. This was my daughter's wish, but unfortunately it didn't come true.
Instead, a week ahead of Afghanistan's presidential election, Hanifa became one more casualty in the Taliban's violent campaign to disrupt the vote. We were filming nearby when the attack took place. It was a familiar tactic. A suicide blast cleared the way. Gunmen stormed in, fighting to the death. The insurgents thought they were targeting a daycare center full of Western families. They got the wrong house. This is the spot where Hanifa lost her life. She and her brother were crossing this street when a suicide bomber detonated his device. It was an incredibly powerful blast. You can see the impact it's had on the door here. Hanifa died almost instantly, and her brother was critically wounded. The news said that an Afghan child was killed, but it was Hanifa.
She was small. She looked much younger than her age, but I can tell you she was a guide for our family, an inspiration. She always had her head in some book and encouraged others to study harder.
We located the family just a few days after the attack. They agreed to be filmed despite the potentially deadly risk of being exposed to insurgents. With memories of Hanifa all around, grief is still too raw for Miriam. She shows me her sister's possessions, the most prized of which was her voter registration card. Hanifa was too young to participate in the last election, but was determined to make her mark this year.
Was this important to her?
Yes, very important. Not because of any candidate, but because she wanted to make it easier for other women to vote.
Hanifa was a volunteer with Afghanistan's Independent Election Commission. She was killed while being escorted home by her brother. He still doesn't know about his sister's fate.
My son was very badly hurt, but when he's awake, he only asks about his sister. We told him she was injured, but fine. I just can't bring myself to tell him the truth.
We would get upset each time there was news of an attack. I've cried many times about these incidents, but the way I cry for my own sister, it's so different.
She was a symbol of Afghanistan's potential, bright, educated, passionate about helping others. But Hanifa died because she was in the wrong place at the wrong time.
I was always afraid of the suicide attacks and tried to keep the children home, but Hanifa convinced me otherwise. She used to say to me, "You can't let the fear of death keep you from working for the welfare of others."
Lucy Kafanov, RT, Kabul.
Well, sadly, such tragedies enter the lives of Afghan families almost on a daily basis, becoming part of a gruesome reality there. Last year alone, more than 500 children were killed in the ongoing violence, while many more had their lives irrevocably altered. Since the US invasion of Afghanistan, suicide bombings, gun attacks and American drones have claimed the lives of more than 27,000 civilians.
Malnutrition, violence, drug addiction, poverty, insecurity, corruption. What are the values here? Lucy Kafanov reports on Afghan realities.
This is an incredibly dangerous.
Today on RT.